Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Worldspawn, and he is in the Smolensk at tier 10 Russian cruiser. He's on the map Okinawa in a 3-point domination game. Well, it's a tier 10 battle where everyone's tier 10, and there doesn't seem to be a radar around. There's also no carrier. And the friendlies are already one ship ahead because, well, his division mate devastated an enemy cruiser. Now they currently have wished on the gearing, but well, the gearing is just simply going to escape there. Now it's not looking too bad because the friendlies are, well, I'm pretty certain they're taking the C cap. They probably also taking the B cap because they've gotten rid of the destroyer over there. So that's nice. And well, not sure how good it looks for the A cap because there's a massive force going there and the friendlies seem to be forced into retreat. Now meanwhile, Worldspawn has found a nice convenient island, and he is currently undetected and raining death and destruction upon him on 10. Now, of course, we are watching a game in the Smolensk here, so if you feel dirty watching this, then that's perfectly natural. And even if you take a shower afterwards and you can scrub yourself until your skin comes off, you might never feel clean again. But that's also pretty much just how this ship is intended. Now, Worldspawn is detected here, and he could just smoke, which might not be a bad idea, but then again there is only one ship aiming at him, and maybe he deems it an acceptable risk for now. He might just be considering that he needs a better position for his smoke, because the Montana is getting closer and closer to the max range, and the enemy is in retreat, so he might just soon lose targets to shoot at. But the Shimakaze is providing a smoke screen, so nicely done by that Shima, and it certainly allows our Smolensk to reserve our own smoke screen, which means if those guys just sail outside of the range pretty soon, you can easily just redeploy and smoke somewhere else. Now, the north isn't looking so great. We just had a friendly battleship, well, committing suicide, I suppose, because he just chose to sail into a camp where there are like 7 enemies or something like that. But the remaining friendlies here might just be wiser and are going to, well, they took down the Harugumo, that's nice. But those ships should really consider retreating. I mean, all they are doing there is fighting a delaying action anyway. They're basically just delaying the A cap to give the ships down here some time to get into better positions. Now, ideally, the ships down here might just split up, have some going on the northern side and somewhere on the southern side, so that they can catch the enemy in a crossfire. Basically, what you want is you wanna, well, ideally kind of surround the enemy, or at least sandwich them between your forces, so you get better firing angles. Now, hearing there is inside the smoke screen, we have a Shima coming in there, and well, somebody's like, spot him, Shima. Yeah, yes and no. Like, of course the Shima is better concealment than the gearing, but the gearing is inside the smoke screen. If the Shima just sails into this smoke screen, there's a very high chance that he's going to die. Now, I haven't watched the torps, so maybe the gearing's torps are on cooldown. But how much of a, like, how well are you timing that torpedo reload? Even if you saw the torps, do you know when they were launched and where they can, like, going into the smoke screen might just very well be the Shima's demise. Now, I think the Shima has more health left in the gearing, but the gearing is the better gunboat. And you see, the most troubling thing, the Shima doesn't have any support, right? All forces are moving away. Now, they might just even be moving away because they won't want to get torped by a gearing, but that remains like if the Shima spots the gearing, she's on her own. And that's one of the things that you have to be rather aware of in a destroyer. If you try to, like, yeah. So he found the gearing, and from the distance it looks like an smoke. But the Shima is a lot healthier than the gearing, so if he doesn't get torped, he should have this, I think. The other Shima might just move in on that gun duel. Like, let's just have a look down there. Torps from the Shima are way gearing. Why isn't the gearing? Like, is that Shima not shooting the gearing? And that Shima is under fire, I think, from multiple sources, while the enemy gearing is basically not being shot by almost anyone. And that Shima, I think that Shima forgot he has guns. So we've just basically lost the Shima for, I don't know, the gearing might have lost 1 or 2k health. And we've lost basically full health Shima. Yeah. Well, meanwhile, Worldspawn has arrived on this flank here, and he has some juicy targets to shoot at. Friendly's just lost the Kleber, which, well, is not ideal. Now the enemy team has the ship lead, but the friendlies still have the caps, and the Conqueror is just being burned to a crisp quite nicely, but he managed to drop into concealment. And it's a Conqueror, right? If he has a heal ready, then he'll just print a new ship and he will come back even stronger. Well, okay, maybe not, but you know. And is he healing? He isn't healing just yet. Like, Conqueror's heal has like a huge cooldown. Oh, here got his heal. So, yeah, that's going to be at least a half-health Conqueror pretty soon, maybe even more. Now, the friendlies still have a destroyer left and the enemies have two. We don't know exactly where the enemy Shimakaze is. The gearing might still be in this area and be torping this way. Now, the friendly Shima could try to spot this gearing again. Didn't go so well for the last Shima, but the last Shima tried to hunt him down in smoke. In the open water with the Shima better concealment. And if you have a smoke ready, you can always just disappear if it's not going your way. And if you're healthy enough. The Shima can also come down here to the north and provide some spotting, because the thing is, the friendlies could use two destroyers, kinda, one running interference against that gearing. But I mean, you'd need like RPF to actually do something about this gearing, to be honest, because otherwise you don't know where he is. And you will never going to spot her other than by accident. Here in the north, the Shima is, well, will be able to spot all of those enemy forces and therefore allow the sneaky little Smolensk to just hide in smoke, for example. And looks like it's going to be. The Shima could also go far enough north to spot that Conqueror. I'm not sure if anyone can lob shells there, but maybe. Now, the friendlies unfortunately have a bit of blobbing syndrome here. It's a well-known disease that has led to the loss of countless of battles. Basically, the thing is, it might always sometimes look like if you're close enough, then you can help each other better. But you know, it just means that basically you are giving up map control and you're probably getting surrounded and ending up in a crossfire and getting utterly devastated. Now, not that Worldspawn is worrying about anything of this right now, probably. Well, he might be, but he's just merely inside his smoke screen, farming a Kremlin. And there is a Widower. And he's drifted outside of his smoke screen, but it does look like he stopped firing because he didn't want to get detected. Well, he's detected anyway, I suppose. I'm not sure why he left his smoke screen there. It could have been an accident and now he's rolling with it, or it could have been that he was afraid that he'd get rushed inside his smoke screen. There's a hefty push coming this way. And your smoke screen isn't going to last forever. So you gotta keep in mind what are you going to do when that smoke screen ends. And you don't want to find yourself like 6 kilometers from battleship guns out in the open after your smoke. So he decided he's just going to do some open water gunboating here. And he probably is just relying on his skill to dodge. Or well, on the Smolensk's thin armor that usually just ends in over-penetration. Sounds rather ridiculous when you put it like that, but honestly, Smolensks are in my experience pretty hard to citadel because most likely your shells will end up being overpens. But hey, that's at least my experience. Now, meanwhile, we are down to 3 friendly ships against 6 enemies. That's not the situation you want to find yourself in. But not everything is lost yet. But, I mean, it doesn't look very good. So, Worldspawn here is going on the offense and he's actually charging a Hindenburg. Now, the thing is, the Smolensk's DPM is pretty insane. So he will be able to take out the Hindenburg, no problem. The problem is more if, like, the Montana, the Conqueror that's still around, which was on what, like 1,000 health or 2,000 health earlier? Oh no, wait, the Conqueror is no longer around. So it's 4 against 3 ships now, that's good. And it looks like the enemy Smolensk is going down quite shortly. Now the friendly Shimakaze is engaging the gearing. And well, it looks like the Shima has a health advantage. But as I said, like, gearing has a bit better guns. Then again, well, with this health advantage, I think the Shima could have this. A lot of it depends on how well good those guys are at dodging and aiming. And then there is always the wildcard torps. If obviously you manage to land a torp, then this will be decided by that. Now here we have a Montreal, the Shima's down. 1 against 3, and that's looking pretty desperate, isn't it? And that's a pretty healthy Montana. Now the Smolensk should be able to burn down this Montana just fine in time, so it depends if the Montana will get one of those juicy citadels. Like, the Montana is a very... Oh, there is the Shima. Now, the thing is, the Shima will only be spotted for a brief time probably, so he is immediately switching to the Shima. Sinking the Shima will be the hardest part, because the Shima can just stay undetected. The thing about the Montana is, if he can kite away, he should be kind of... Well, I mean, 11.4 kilometers isn't that huge of a distance, so the Montana has a reasonable chance of getting good shots in. When it comes to cruiser versus battleship, right? If the cruiser is allowed to just kite away, then the battleship is usually pretty screwed. Because, well, battleships are easy to hit, so the cruisers can just reliably hit shells and with fires will take down the battleship eventually. While a cruiser that's actively trying to dodge and maneuvering isn't that easy to hit for a battleship, especially at long distances. So in a cruiser vs battleship duel and the cruiser kiting away, it's oftentimes decided if that battleship can get this juicy RNG. Well, it's decided also by the dodging skills and aiming skills, which two ships we're looking at. Now there are some Shima torps incoming here, but Worldspawn dodged quite nicely. That forced him to show a bit of broadside, which could always be his demise. But as I said, like, Smolensk's aren't that easy to hit. He also slowed down and dodged most of those shells. And it looks like the dispersion was also in his favor there. So he's doing work on this Montana, and yeah, I feel kinda dirty by watching. Although keep in mind that any cruiser can potentially just kite away and burn a battleship down. Most cruisers wouldn't have that easy of a time doing it. At this distance especially. Like, usually when you're talking about kiting away and farming a battleship, cruisers will do that at like 15 kilometers plus range. But the Shima is briefly spotted, so immediately switches to the Shima because he knows this Shima is standing between victory So, Montana's almost down, a few salvos should take care of that. Now he just has to survive a few more shells, but the Montana gets just the overpens, as you oftentimes do against the Smolensk. Now Hydro is running, torps are coming this way, but he should be able to dodge. But now we are facing the truly horrific part here. While the friendlies still have technically a lead, that won't last for very long. Actually, that will be... Oh, like... Let me just unlock the camera and speed up it a little bit, because, let's just be honest, it's 4 minutes left and there is no way for the friendlies to win. Because the Shima is just going to sail into C and cap C. Now he's detected, the Shima is somewhere around, but it is not useful, so he's just shelling randomly the area. And he got lucky! And he got a defended medal, but see, it doesn't do anything. The enemy has a... Oh, there are torps. Let's slow it down again. And let's give him back control of the camera. So, nicely dodged. But once again, it doesn't change anything. The enemy has like 100 points lead and they have 3 caps. And there is nothing he can do about it. Like, he can sail into a cap, so what? He can try to chase down the Shima, but he doesn't even have RPF, so he doesn't know where the Shima is. He knows that the Shima is close enough to keep him spotted, but the Shima is probably merrily sailing towards the zone wall, and now it's just... Well, I will probably reach 1,000 points before the clock runs out, or will they? Well, either way. He's trying to do... Wait, what? Okay... As it turns out, there was still a chance to win, they just needed the enemy Shimakaze to give them a victory. So yeah, Worldspawn earned himself 3217 base experience, nicely done by him. Achieved an Arsonist, Confederate Dreadnought, the Kraken, a Vidora and a High Caliber, scoring almost 300,000 points of damage, sinking 5 enemies and just setting everything on fire. So yeah, I think I'll need a shower now. And you might just need one too. And I'll see you guys next time.